fine line between the two.
Focus is such an important part, but when you're in the ring, you're so focused. Can the crowd in any way affect you? Do you get energy out of them? And particularly in your last fight, which was in Oakland, your hometown against Sullivan Barrera, were you able to feel the energy from the crowd for you?
Oh, always, always, always. I can always feel it. I can hear, the chants. I can hear them urging me on, but I'm a professional, and I think I've mastered, using the fuel and using the energy because, the energy is tangible, in a boxing arena, but not allowing it to drive me to do something that, I'm not supposed to do, like, run into a stupid punch or get outside the game plan. And it's not easy. But again, I've done this sport for most of my life, at the highest level as an amateur and at the highest level as a professional. So you just kind of learn to cope and you learn to deal with all those different energies that are in a boxing arena.
Give me some insight about the game plan, because I find that fascinating. People don't usually think about boxing in terms of game plans, but tell me how you get ready to go into a fight. What do you do? Break down the video that you see? How does the thought process begin to work in order to develop that game plan for you, Andre?
I think it boils down to two things. You want to, exploit the weaknesses of your opponent, and you find out what those weaknesses are by watching film, and just studying. And again, I've been in this game, long enough to where it doesn't take a whole lot of film watching to kind of see what I need to see. And then also, my trainer, Verge, he'll watch film and we will compare mental notes about what we see. And so you want to exploit the weaknesses that you see, and you want to take away their strengths. I mean, that's what it boils down to. What do they like to do? Okay, this is how we have to refute that and take that away. Okay, their weaknesses, this is how we exploit that. This guy doesn't have great conditioning, so what do we want to do? We want to take him deep into a fight. We want to get him tired. We want to set a hard pace. And then the key, like any other, big-time sport, is you have to go execute when the lights come on, and that's the key.
How does the business aspect affect your thinking and your preparation for fights?
I don't know how it affects my thinking. I think if one way I could choose to say that it affects my thinking is just, there's no, put it like this, there's no guarantees in the sport of boxing. I can have a fight scheduled 2 months out, and I can be in a training camp where I have to pay sparring partners, I have to pay for my room and board, I have to pay the chef, I have to pay everyone, pay my team. But then, maybe 2 weeks before the fight, all of a sudden, either I have a setback or my opponent has a setback, and all that money's down the drain. So there's no guarantees from that standpoint, and there's also no guarantees from the standpoint of just a general promotional contract. Boxing, and people don't know this, but you can have certain minimums in your purse: fight 1, fight 2, fight 3, fight 4. But if you lose fight 3, fight 4, now we can restructure your contract and pay you less. So just understanding that and understanding those numbers, that gives me a certain drive in me where I say I can't afford to lose.
I'm going to say what I've always said to people about my sitting in this studio. I said the quietest part of my day is the 3 hours I'm on the air each night. I would assume the simplest part of your day is probably the rounds that you're in the ring.
Uh-huh.
Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're simple, but I feel like, the preparation is everything to me. So when that day comes, there is somewhat of a piece about you that says, listen, I've done all that I can do, and I'm ready for whatever comes my way. And that's the key. It's not necessarily simple, but it's almost as if there is a peace or a calm, before the storm and even in the midst of the storm, because you've prepared for this, for the past 2 months. And in my case, I prepared for these big moments pretty much my whole life.
And is also there a satisfaction with you knowing that the ultimate outcome, success or failure, really only comes down to one person? It's not like a team sport where the pitcher may have a bad ball game or the shortstop may make a mistake in baseball. It comes down only to Andre Ward during that period of time in which he's in the ring. I would think that there's a sense of knowing I have control over my destiny in this sport.
Yeah, boxing is like no other sport. I loved to play football in high school. I ran track. My first love was actually baseball, and even track. Track is a team sport. It's an accumulative effect in terms of the points you get based on the certain